Robert Rodriguez was the showrunner for the Book of Boba Fett. He also directed Chapter 14, The Tragedy of the Mandalorian Season 2, which many fans think was better than the Book of Boba Fett in terms of the depiction of the character. And in the Book of Boba Fett, Robert Rodriguez directed arguably the weakest episodes. But now he's kind of teased that Boba might return. Is it going to be in The Mandalorian Season 4? Is there going to be a Book of Boba Season 2? And his answer was rather telling. He said, quote, "I can't say, I'm sworn to secrecy. I wish I could tell you. I know all the answers to what you're asking, but I can't say. And let's be real, this probably means yes. In what world would this mean no?" Making Star Wars said there is probably a secret Boba Fett project going on, whether it's Boba Season 2 or Mando Season 4. Boba looks like he's going to be returning. Very interesting stuff. And so now, my dear friends, The Mandalorian Season 3 left us with a lot of questions. What's next for Mandalore after the reunification of the people? What's next for Din Djarin and Din Grogu now that they have their own house on Nevarro and are going to be working for the New Republic? Is Moff Gideon dead? And the most pressing question, what do yellow travel biscuits taste like? That's a question Katy O'Brian, who plays Leslye Kane, answered. One of the most standout episodes of The Mandalorian's third season, and one of my favourites, was Chapter 19, The Convert, in which the show takes an episode-long interlude away from our protagonists and focuses on what's going on Coruscant, although it wasn't completely void of Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, because Bo herself is also a convert. The episode referred to both her and Dr Pershing for very different reasons, but in that episode, Dr Pershing, played by Omid Abtahi, was given a chance to rehabilitate himself into society through the amnesty program. Away from Imperial thinking and in line with the values of the New Republic, he befriends an ex-Imperial who we saw in Season 2, Moff Gideon's comms officer, Kane. She's got nefarious motivations and leads him straight into a trap. And then, Dr Pershing is framed, he's caught, and his mind is frayed, and we still don't know if he survived. But one of the most memorable aspects of that episode was Dr Pershing's strange love of Imperial travel biscuits. They used to be his favourite snack when he worked for Gideon. Because Katy O'Brien's Leslye Kane is a double agent, she was able to get hold of them, and as an offering to gain his trust, she gave some to Dr Pershing. But at the end, when his mind is frayed, like an absolute psycho, she watches on and takes a bite out of one of the biscuits, as she watches as Pershing's being tortured by the Mind Flayer machine, which she does all the way up. But brutality aside, Katy O'Brian, in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, revealed what these cookies tasted like on set, saying they had a distinctive coconut flavour. She tells the outlet, "Someone told me the recipe is out online now," and she's right, by the way. If you go to StarWars.com, they do have their own recipe. She goes on to say, "From what I recall, because again, this was like 2 years ago, it was just really heavy coconut. I have one in the fridge right now, but I think I'm gonna plasticize it and keep it forever." But yeah, it was pretty dry, and it was surprisingly filling, and I do agree with her, she should plasticize it. I mean, if you have the opportunity to be in Star Wars, and you get to keep a prop, which is very rare, even if it's just a cookie, hold on to it, plasticize it, do whatever you need to, do not get rid of it. Now, interestingly enough, the version on Star Wars' website, the recipe, does not contain any coconut. It contains lemon and cream cheese. O'Brian describes the one she ate on set as being more of a biscuit than a cookie, but the one on Star Wars' website is a cookie. She finishes by noting that it could have been used as a ration, and that is what the Empire's all about. Food as sustenance, not something to be enjoyed, but rather something just to maintain you. Just how bland it is symbolic of what the Empire's about, the regime that Gideon and the others part of the Shadow Council want to bring back. And you must admit, in recent times, Disney Star Wars has been focusing on world building to do with the mundane everyday life in the galaxy. From Obi-Wan's journey to work, to the blue noodles and cereal in Andor Season 1, the glowing popsicles, the yellow travel biscuits, there has been a push to show us some more everyday aspects, and this could be for the purpose of merchandising. We know what Disney's about, we know what they do, we know how they function, it's all about merchandising. But interestingly enough, in universe, it also provides new insight, world building, and showing us aspects we wouldn't otherwise see. We also saw this on Naboo in The Bad Batch's second season. And it follows in the legacy of George Lucas, who started to explore these more mundane aspects in the prequel trilogy, especially in the deleted scenes. And let me know in the comments down below if you want to see me reacting to some of these. And so staying on the subject of The Mandalorian, Emily Swallow, who plays the armourer, was disappointed with fan theories that she was going to betray our heroes and work for Moff Gideon. Because the penultimate episode was called The Spies, a lot of fans thought the other one had to be the armourer, but it wasn't. No one was. The title was a biblical reference, where the Mandalorians, just like the Israelites, were entering the Promised Land, their homeworld of Mandalore. One of the most popular fan theories, which I admit I bought into, is that the armourer was secretly working for Moff Gideon, based on a quick escape from Mandalore, getting the wounded Mandos back to the ship, and the fact that just like her, Moff Gideon had horns on his helmet. In reality, it was all face value. The armourer proved herself a hero before allowing Din to officially adopt Grogu, a villain she is not. And now actress Emily Swallow has shared her thoughts on the theory online via SFF Gazette. She simply says, "I'm not mad, just disappointed that fans doubted me." These comments are just being made in jest, sort of tongue-in-cheek, because Emily herself wanted us to feel this way. She knew fans would get that impression, but she reiterates her character is loyal to Mandalore, she trusts Din, she's made up with Bo-Katan, and her story will continue in Season 4, which goes into production in September. And so finally, my dear friends, let's talk about The Acolyte by Leslye Headland. A very unique addition to the Star Wars franchise, not just because it's High Republic, but also because it's going to be critical of the Jedi. The show was pitched by Leslye Headland to Kathleen Kennedy as, quote, Frozen meets Kill Bill. A very unlikely combination of influences for a Star Wars show, but here we are, I'm excited to see what it's going to bring. But now we have some comments by Manny Jacinto, saying, quote, he's just a regular guy trying to have a good time in Star Wars. Now Manny Jacinto is not going to be one of the many Jedi in the show. His character does not have a lightsaber. Instead, as some fans have speculated, he might be a Han Solo type of character, a smuggler sort of character just trying to live his life, swept up into the world of the High Republic. And Empire magazine say he might not even be the Han Solo of this era, instead, the Jason Mendoza of Star Wars, the quintessential regular character just trying to have a good time. But he notes, the show is not just an opportunity to flood the screen with Jedi Masters, a Wookiee, Force users, and aliens, it's also a chance to dig into something real, through an unexplored part of the Star Wars timeline. Leslye Headland says, quote, when you're doing something completely original like we are, you want to question the status quo of the era you live in. What I think is so interesting right now is that everyone thinks they're right, the Jedi really think they're right, and George Lucas tells us they're wrong in The Phantom Menace. And we spoke about this part the other day, but I'm very curious by the statement Frozen meets Kill Bill. We know about the crimes that the main character's investigating, but is there going to be a fantastical element to it? Bear in mind Frozen is based on 1844's The Snow Queen, a Danish fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen. So just like what George Lucas tried to do with Star Wars, there is going to be a mythological side, and Frozen is not the worst influence in the world, but it is an odd choice for a Star Wars show. Again, as I said the other day, I am giving this a chance. Let's see what Leslye brings to the table, but share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.